Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the February 12th, 2026 Board of Directors meeting. I'm going to ask everyone to please say their names because I understand the videotape. You can't always read our name tags. So if we start with you, Nancy.
Nancy Sewell.
Josh Tabor.
Jerry Basco.
Allison Herlihy.
Peg Wheeler.
Kate Whalen.
Audra Bove.
Susan Austin.
Melissa Sear.
Lauren Janicek.
Krista Tasker.
Thank you. And now if we could all rise for these Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You could remain standing for a moment. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to remember our fallen classmate, Aiden Keith. Thank you. Now our co-chair will do the public input statement.
Just give me a motion. Okay, the first public input session is a 21-minute session with each person having no longer than 3 minutes in which to make a statement. But a second public input session may be held at the end of the meeting if allowed by the board chair. Each speaker will give his or her name, address, and reason for speaking. Public input is designated for district residents, but the board chair may grant non-residents the opportunity to address the board. Statements concerning subject matter that falls under the law regarding executive sessions, for example, matters involving personnel, cannot be made during public input. We as a community pledge to treat each other as we wish to be treated. We pledge to seek understanding when there may be disagreement. Regardless of outcomes or opinions, we pledge to move forward with respect. This time is for comments and or questions for the board, but please be aware questions may not be able to be answered at this meeting.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Sarah Tibbetts. I am a resident of Berwick, also a mother of two in the district as well. I am verbally submitting this complaint to formally report a series of inappropriate, unprofessional, and unacceptable comments made by school board member Allison Herlihy toward my son during the January 8th, 2026 MSAD 60 board meeting. Her conduct toward him was disrespectful, harassing, and far outside the standards expected of any elected official entrusted with representing students and families. While my son was speaking, board member Allison Herlihy made the following statements directly to him. 1, if that's the hill you want to go down on, honey. 2, would you sexually assault a girl in the bathroom? All while she repeatedly rolled her eyes, shook her head, and displayed body language intended to demean, belittle, and intimidate my son. This behavior is inappropriate and inexcusable. No adult, especially not a school board member, should ever speak to any student in such a degrading manner. The use of the term honey, along with the condescending tone and the hostile body language together, creating an environment where my son was disrespected, humiliated, and potentially subjected to sexual harassment by someone in a position of authority. This behavior violates the most basic expectations in professionalism, respect, and ethical conduct. Students who engage in public meetings should feel safe, supported, respected, and heard, not mocked, dismissed, or subjected to inappropriate comments. Given the seriousness of this misconduct, I'm requesting the following actions. 1, a formal and comprehensive investigation, including a full review of the meeting recording. 2, written acknowledgement from the board that this complaint has been received. 3, a clear explanation of the district's process for investigating misconduct by a school board member. 4, the formal resignation of board member Allison Herlihy from her position, as her behavior clearly demonstrates she is unfit to represent or interact with the students and families of this school district. This request is made with full awareness of its seriousness. The comments made towards my son, including a statement that could reasonably be interpreted as sexual harassment, breach professionalism, ethical, and safety standards that the district has a duty to uphold without exception. I expect the district to address this matter promptly and to inform me of the next steps in the investigation process. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Priscilla. This is probably the third time I've been addressing the board on the same issue regarding my son, who is a senior here at Lowell. I'm here tonight because the issue is not whether Aaron had earned enough credits to graduate. Its issue is whether or not he has received the free and appropriate public education the federal law guarantees, and whether he is truly prepared for life after school. Aaron has not had a consistent education throughout his entire school career. From early dysregulation that has required placement at John Powers to returning to Noble, then later being placed at the Mary Hurd School. And then Sweetser and Soccer, which may I add has been the only successful place he has actually been able to get information, retain it, and apply it. We're talking about a senior here. His education has been marked by instability rather than continuity. Each transition is disruptive learning and progress. Mind you, he has been in this district all along. Only maybe 2 years he wasn't here. All that dysregulation has been in your district. During his freshman and sophomore years alone, Aaron was hospitalized for approximately 60 days. During those extended medical bed absence, instructions were not delivered to him at the facility. His IEP services were not implemented there. His education was simply stopped during the period. Therefore, he did not get the credits. You do not make credits up like that. Under the IMDEA, a student's right to a free appropriate public education is not caused because of hospitalization. When a student with an IEP is absent for medical reasons, the responsibility remains on the district to ensure continued access to instructions, progress, and work towards those IEP goals. Today, as a senior, Aaron reads at approximately an 8th grade level with about 73% comprehension, which he continues to struggle significantly in math and science. These are not minor academic gaps. They are the fundamental defects that affect his ability to function independently into adulthood. Graduation is not just a ceremony, it is a legal termination of a special education protections. If Aaron graduates now, his right and services under the IDEA ends despite unmet goals and documented academic delays. Credits alone do not equal readiness. Seat time does not equal meaningful progress. I am asking this board to consider whether graduating student has experienced years of inconsistent instructions, multiple placement, and prolonged hospitalizations, without services and ongoing academic defects. Truly regrets that he has received an appropriate education. I say this because I am fighting for my son to get another year of school in which he absolutely needs. Sweetser even suggested it. You guys are saying that you stop educating people at an 8th grade level. I found out your director lied. I will be investigating this.
Honored Board, Madam Chairwoman, thank you for taking the time to listen to my input today. You know me, my name is Sophie Larson and I live in North Berwick, taxpayer, district parent, and teacher. Last time I stood before you, I reminded you that Facebook is not the best forum for our community to have thoughtful, polite, and productive conversations. Of course, you cannot control the conversation online, but as you must realize, the continued attacks on our learning community are taking a toll on the teachers in our buildings. Honored Board, I have a request for you. Could you pass a resolution? Understanding that resolutions are not binding, I still think it would be great if you would pass a resolution to condemn the rhetoric that promotes the idea that our students are not college ready when they leave Noble. By the way, I don't think every student needs to choose college right after high school. There are plenty of opportunity for those students who wish to forego the four-year experience. Our partnership with Sanford Regional Tech has us graduating students who go straight into successful careers in anything from mechanics to early childhood education. Anyway, I work in the language department and I will highlight what we do to help our students get ready for life. This year, we expanded our mentoring program. We now reach kids in every elementary school throughout the whole year as our best and brightest Spanish and French students teach the youngest district learners basic world language skills. As you know, early childhood exposure to foreign language builds a denser brain, strengthens memory and reading skills, and enhances executive functioning skills like planning and prioritizing. Additionally, the French Honor Society just participated in the North Berwick Elementary School's 100 celebration. This year we collected cat food. More importantly, our students spoke to the little bears about how connections and community are important and how being part of the noble family will benefit and make the little bears proud in years to come. Speaking of community, we're about to host our annual culture fair where our high school students share with the community what they've learned about a topic of their choice. Latin, Russian, Spanish, and French students are all represented. This is the highlight of the year for many students who share food they have cooked, local dances they have learned, music, crafts, and much more. Come check it out. Our language department also takes students for international trips each year. Last year, it was Costa Rica and Canada. This is an opportunity for kids to practice language skills in a really authentic way. It helps them prepare for the Seal of Biodiversity exam. I want to talk about that for a second too. Last year, 22 seniors earned the coveted Seal of Biodiversity. This endorsement is earned by sitting an exam that spans several days, and it proves that a student is culturally competent and literate in a world language. The endorsement gives students an edge on the job market and prepares them for college, depending on where they go. The endorsement can give a student 3 to 9 credits at their college. In some cases, it will eliminate the need for foreign cultures general education class. As you can hear, we're pretty centered on the idea of graduating competent individuals. I can't speak for all departments here. It would take too long, but I repeat my request. Please officially take a stand and condense the narrative that we don't do enough. Thank you.
Jennifer Delton, London, Maine. I have 2 kids in the district in the school. They've been here since kindergarten. I was able to zoom in on a policy meeting and I'd like to give some feedback. Restrictions on public input is not the answer to short meetings or so that you can get work done. What I saw was almost constant scoffing, interrupting, dismissing, and dating of fellow board members. We don't like this. This is counterproductive. And why is this acceptable? It's demoralizing and unprofessional. I assume that meetings would be more productive and run efficiently if you didn't conduct yourself in this way. I have concerns about a series of reading lessons. 7th to 8th grade ELA was split into reading and writing, 2 separate classes. This was to improve the NWEA and proficiency, I believe. In 6 recent lessons about Maine, there's multiple videos to watch and 1 short story that they listen along to. One assignment was to list 22 places in Maine and 2 facts about each place. How does watching videos promote learning, promote reading? How do they use reading skills to extract information by watching YouTube? This is 8th grade. When I talk about academic rigor, low quality lessons, and concerns about expectations, this is what I mean. And I can't challenge every single lesson that I happen to check on that week. Who is accountable? What does it matter if the grading scale is supposedly more difficult, but the work isn't? Not the teachers, but the curriculum in many aspects, I feel, is failing the students. Give the teachers high quality materials and programs to challenge and educate the students appropriately. We as parents are trying to hold leadership and the board accountable. We have high expectations for the quality of our children's education. And I'm sorry to say, but some of it feels like a joke. There was this wasn't like a one-off assignment that I found earlier in the year. An ELA, do 5 parts of a story, and it could use a comic book, a fairy tale. Like I'm talking about 8th grade use fairy tale. It's not okay. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Vessel. I'm a resident of Berwick, Maine, and I have 2 children in school district. Been a frequent visitor here at school board meetings to call for better behavior from all those involved in taking care of our students. For years now, people have made this seem like a one side versus another side issue. However, there's only one side that uses anonymity to attack people online. There's only one side that shares AI generated images of others to attack people online. There's only one side that attacks people with labels instead of listening and having a conversation. 2 weeks ago, we had some so-called experts come in here and they were given time to speak. I don't know what they were supposed to be talking about, but we definitely need to get better experts in here and talk about the civil rights garbage at the time. It was not the people we had 2 weeks ago. Our school district has many issues. We need to build schools. We need to have serious conversations about changing the academics curriculum. All of that costs money. We are not going to be able to do any of that without having a civil conversation, and we're not going to be able to have a civil conversation here in years. The online attacks have to stop, especially the anonymous ones. People need to learn to stand by what they say they do. What we say and do on our actions have consequences, and the consequences have come roost. Somebody on the board really should consider resigning. Thank you.
Ron, get on the line, buddy.
Okay, do we have anyone else who's interested in making a public statement? Okay, then we will move on to review and approve minutes of January 22nd. Has everyone had a chance to look at that, and does anyone have any input?
Motion to approve. Second it.
Motion, it's been seconded to approve minutes of January 22nd. All those in favor? And the motion is passed. Next order of business is a sabbatical proposal.
We have Elizabeth Lane from Noble Middle and High School, who is requesting a sabbatical. We had sent that information to you, but we also have a hard copy for in case you were unable to access that.
There you go.
So Elizabeth is down here. And Elizabeth, if you don't mind, just giving a thumbnail of your project and what you're hoping to do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I would very much like to repurpose the cross-country trail that we have out back here for multiple purposes, not just as a cross-country trail, but to add it as an opportunity for additional science and environmental learning, setting up kind of like trailheads. And if you've ever been to Loudon Farm, where they've got the trails through the woods and they've got mindfulness posts and posts for exercise and posts for different kinds of identifying biotic and abiotic factors out in the woods. They just would love to be able to use that as a way to promote outdoor learning in a real way. And give back to the community, something really great for our school, and it would be available to anybody. So that's the general idea. I haven't, I've been trying to do this for a long time. I used to do the outdoor club, and I have students that would very much like to participate in an outdoor trail club. And I think it could be something that would be really unifying for our community.
So Elizabeth, you say you're proposing to do this work in semester of 27?
Yes. And I would, that during that time, I would be applying, well, if this was accepted, then I would start applying for grants right away. But it is that time that I would need to put the grants together to work on the logistics of that project, and then work with the school, work with some out of school partners like Great Works Regional Land Trust, where I've been a member at Earth, and on the board there as well. So I feel hopeful. I've done Green Symposiums, I've done Green Schools Alliance, I've tried to immerse myself in that experience, and I would love to get my students out there more with more purpose, not just to wander around, but to really identify spotted turtles, identify the different kinds of foliage, and just And I am currently doing a STEM class that uses, that is water-based, and they're looking at filtration and watersheds, and it's very timely for everybody.
How would you propose to involve the students in the actual design of the trail and management of the trail?
Well, I have already reached out to Adam Reed, who does who is our woodworking and engineering class, and he's going to have some of his students also participate. They like for community service hours to keep in the building, and then it would just be, digging the posts and potentially expanding the property and bringing in sort of GPS material surveying and then doing some things like that. That would be really helpful for the kids.
Signage, I imagine, might be one thing that they could help with too.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, that would be part of like what I would be doing today. He's already signed on. I'd love to do that.
Great. Jerry?
So this is land that the school owns,
Yes,
right? The school district, okay.
it would be on the school, it would be all school property. We have definitely big chunks that we're not really utilizing. So it would be kind of fun to stick them out there.
Would it still be able to be used as a cross-country trail for
Oh, yeah.
races and stuff? Okay,
I'm the middle school cross country coach,
okay.
24 years.
Just didn't know with the post and bench if we could still use it for the races and stuff. Beautiful.
I have to ask this question because I don't know. When you're on sabbatical, are you still being paid by the district?
Yes.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Okay. And I'm just curious how is that going to impact the learning of the students? Who would we have to hire for what position and what classes? That sort of
So
thing.
I'm a local teacher, and I had been an eighth grade science teacher, and then I shifted to the STEM program. So there would have to be somebody to take that semester for me.
Can we maybe just stop at Melissa's point? Our teachers in their contract are allowed to request a sabbatical
that's
every,
correct.
how long?
They have to be after 7 years, they're able to apply for a sabbatical.
Right.
Yes.
And it could be a half year or a full year.
How long have you been in our district?
I'm finishing out my 25th year.
Awesome. I think it sounds like a wonderful idea.
I'm excited about it.
Thank you so much for putting in the time to even think of this. This is awesome. I think with the amount of kids we have with selective learning disabilities and ADHD and ADD, which you obviously know the research on, being out in nature and learning can be hugely impactful. So I think this supports all of our, vision goals, and I love it. Thank you.
Thanks.
What are our next steps now?
We need to make a motion and a second, and then a vote.
So we know how that would get, or sabbatical would be covered for classes
We would need to hire somebody to cover those
that
classes.
semester.
Yes, that semester.
May I request, just because it's the first time I've been able to read it, do we have to make a motion and vote on it tonight? Could it not wait till our next meeting, or is this pressing?
You can wait till the next meeting.
I would
We just need to have this done by April 1st.
I understand. I would just ask, just to give us a little bit of time to process it, a little bit more. I would appreciate that. I think it looks great. I think it's a wonderful thing, but I would appreciate time to process it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll put it on for the March 5th meeting
February 26th.
or the February 26th. What? You go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next order of business is a transportation update.
Okay, I think Leanne is on the screen. There she is. All right, so I'm just going to hand out just kind of an overview. Every board meeting or every other board meeting, we talk a little bit about our transportation updates. And we have compiled some information as well as have Leanne here to answer any questions the board may have about transportation. So I'll just let you take a look at this. Well, make sure it gets out. So here's just some information. I'm just going to read it just for the audience members. We currently have 30 routes and 2 flex positions. So 30 drivers, 2 flex positions. Most of our drivers work 7.5 to 8 hours per day. We currently have 4 unfilled positions. That's bus 27, 43, and 2 flex drivers. We currently have 3 drivers out for medical issues, and we currently have 3 candidates who've attended a recent permit class. We have recruitment bonuses for employees who refer someone to become a driver. So it's $500 for a bonus. And that goes to the staff member. So $250 in the beginning, like right when the referral comes through. And then after a successful probationary period. We have attendance bonuses, which are given out 3 times a year. And this is a newly added per the contract. So the bonus is $250 for each trimester. So September to November, December to February, March to June. We also had a question, and there's been some thoughts and questions about students who've missed school due to transportation issues. So we tried to break this down from November to February. So November 1st to February 10th. And what we looked at is any time a bus had missed like four buses, 4 cancellations or more. So that's what we looked at, not just 1 cancellation one day. So during that time period, Huzzy School had no reported absences due to transportation. And again, these are reported due to transportation. North Berwick Elementary School had 1 reported absence for 1 day. Hanson School had 1 reported absence for 9 days. 1 reported absence for 6 days, 1 reported absence for 5 days, 1 reported absence for 3 days, and 7 reported absences for 1 day. There is a permanent plan in place for 8 of the students so that if some of the buses are not running, 8 of those students have a current place to get on and off with a different bus. That's been their plan. Knowlton School has had 5.5 reported absences for 1 day. Noble Intermediate School had 3 reported absences for 1 day. And the Noble Middle and High School had 12 reported absences for 1 day. So these are some of the strategies that we have used as a district to work through some of our shortages with transportation drivers. The district has contacted other districts, First Student, Ledgmere, and other companies to assist with coverage. For 2 weeks, C&J provided coverage for a morning SRTC run, allowing the driver to cover shortages at the elementary runs. Every time we do this, it costs $600 per run. The problem with charter buses, which we found, is that charter buses will not do the door-to-door or the group stops. They just want to do like 1 pickup and 1 drop off. So that's why they've helped us with SRTC. And then one of the things that has been figured out as far as for the upper level students, that group stops are created when there's a shortage of a bus. There will be a group stop added so that students can pick up another bus or another stop instead of the bus that's not running. So those are some of the things that we've done and continue to do. I'm going to start, I think, with Leanne. Leanne, do you want to talk about your challenges that you've had with even people showing up, and what's your number been for setup interviews and what has happened?
Yeah, so for interviewing, I spend probably 10 hours a week just responding to people that have applied, having communications, kind of like a pre-interview. What interests you in being a bus driver? Have you ever worked with children? Have some communications. If they seem to go through that phase, then we set up interviews. Since November, I've had 50 no-shows. So it's a lot of time that you invest in that to try to get people to come in, and then they never show up. We have been successful in having some people come in for permit class, and then even though you've talked to them about the cost of what it's going to cost for them to get their permit, that seems to be a challenge for a few people. So then they decide not to move forward. So those are some of the challenges that we've been running into. We do have people in permit class now. So hopefully, people's different study skills, we all learn differently. Some people take a little bit longer to learn. And some of the struggles that we have is getting people licensed can take up to 3 months, depending on which state. New Hampshire's a little bit faster. So if you're a New Hampshire resident, you can get through the program a little bit quicker, as they're more computerized, and you can go through the computer system to set up your testing dates. And Maine is still envelope and stamp, and you have to mail it in and wait for them to do their scheduling on a Tuesday. So it depends when you send your paperwork in. It may be a couple of weeks before you actually get a testing date. That's a couple of weeks out, and so forth. So those are some of the challenges that we've run against in trying to hire more people. We have hired 7 drivers in the last year and 3 months.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the process to be licensed? I know you talked about the timing, but what do we offer as a district to support that process?
Yes. So we offer a free permit class. To go for a permit class costs you about $1,200 if that's something you're interested in getting your CDL for. But we offer that free of charge for anyone that's interested in becoming a school bus driver. It's about a 6-hour class. We go through the entire federal motor vehicle workbook with them, highlighting all different aspects of the actual book so that they can know what to focus on. Although they're responsible for the entire amount, we kind of give them some guidelines and highlighting, just like in college when you highlight your books to know what it is you got to remember to help them with that study process. We have some apps, a CDL prep app that we have them have. We have some paper tests that they can use. But it's about a 6-hour class. We usually try to do that in 2 days and 3-hour sessions. Once they feel confident about going for their written test, because there's 4 tests they have to take. It's a general knowledge, air brake, a school bus endorsement, and a passenger endorsement. Once they've achieved that and passed their drug test and have their medical card, then they'll come in and start actual training. The training involves learning a pre-trip of your vehicle, which has to be done every day for safety. That's about a 7-page document that they need to memorize and be able to verbalize to the state inspector when it is they go for their testing. That takes a little bit of time for people, especially without any mechanical knowledge of vehicles. So everybody's learning style is different. So the more they do it, the easier it is to remember. Muscle memory is the wonderful thing. So they get the pre-trip done they have to do. The other aspect of the testing to get their license is skills work. So they have to drive through some cone work, doing parallel parking, driving forward, driving back, backing into a 3-foot box, putting the nose of their bus in a 3-foot box, doing an alley dock, such things like that, offset and so forth. And the last aspect of it, of getting your license, is doing a road test like when you were 16 years old. You're going to go out for a ride on the road. You're going to taking rights and lefts, being sure you're not curbing the back of the bus, running over anything, being able to maneuver it easily, having to verbalize what the steps are when it is you go to a school bus stop. And if you're crossing a student, not crossing a student, but you have to verbalize all the steps to actually do a school bus stop. And the same thing with railroad crossings, verbalizing everything for what it is you need to do for a railroad crossing. And then if you pass all of those elements, then you'll get your CDL with school bus endorsement and passenger endorsement without a restriction of air brake.
I wonder we can't find people. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I know the challenges of people too is you're not just coming to get a license to drive. You're also managing 2 to 3 classrooms of children with your back to them at the whole time. So just like when you're in your classroom and you were listening to your teacher, the second they turned around to write on the board, the behaviors change. That's what you're dealing with as a driver with student management at all times too. So it is a challenge. It definitely is a challenge. And our drivers do a great job with it.
Can I just clarify something? Because I heard about the $1,200 class, but then I heard we covered it, but I heard it was an obstacle for a lot of people. So is it completely free? Permitting, CDL, certification, the whole thing is free, correct? Because
no, the whole thing is not free. There needs to be investment in their personal learning to get their permit. So that's $130 that they have to pay for. Just like anybody that works in the district, they also have to pay for their fingerprinting. That is on them to pay for that also. So the first investment is the permit test is $70 for the general knowledge, and then $20 for each of the endorsements, which is $20 for air brake, $20 for passenger, and $20 for your school bus, for $130 total. But the class itself, to take the class to learn the information about getting a permit, that course is about $1,200 if you were to go take that course to try to get a CDL.
Okay, so we're asking for $130 investment for anyone that wants to join us.
And fingerprinting.
Right.
Well, we're not asking for that, right? That's the.
No, I know, but I mean, that's what's
Right,
required for us to start with us. Okay.
You know, it's like getting your teaching license. If you have to get your teaching license, you have to go to school, you have to invest in that to get your actual licensing. It's an improvement on their actual license. So they have to invest in getting there because they're going to be able to take it with them. Whether they stay with us, you know, we expect them that they stay with us for a year after doing this training. It is something they take off with them and they're able to go drive many other Class B vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that note, do you find that is happening more often nowadays, like that people are using the free class to get their permit and then leaving?
We did have one past person that did come in, went through the training, realized this wasn't for him a month later on, and then did leave. I'm not finding that it happens a lot.
I hear that.
So is there a contract that they sign to, if they get their CDL, that they have to stay for a year or 2 years or anything that we recoup some of that?
There's currently nothing in writing as far as I'm aware.
Thank you.
Jerry, we've talked about that in negotiations with the union. It is something that we've been discussing as to how to actually put it in and implement it, because the follow-up is hard sometimes to chase people down if they do leave the district. But that is something that we've been talking with the union about.
Right. We've had kind of the same kind of issue with firefighters in the town too, where you're doing the training and then they get all that training and then they're just gone. So I just wondered if you were having the same issue with bus drivers.
I will say I have had people come in and really, can you get me my hazmat? Can you get me, I'd really like to drive an oil truck kind of thing. Or I'd really like to drive a fire truck. I work for the fire station and I need to get my CDL. So I do have people that come in and do say those types of things. And that kind of puts me on the hesitant. And, you know, I do ask that if you were to go through the training, it does take a year, but it does put up a little bit of a flag. Because it is a very marketable item to have a CDLB.
So I know I mentioned this maybe like 6 months ago at the start of this bus crisis, but now it's kind of even more glaring with the attendance that this is an equity issue. The least affluent community is being impacted the most by attendance. And so I really want to start seeing, when we're talking about transportation, which bus routes are cut. I do think we need to prioritize the lower income communities. And I want to know what work we're doing to make sure we are prioritizing the lowest income communities.
So a couple of different things for that, to that point. The first one is students that have an IEP that has specialized transportation as part of the IEP, we do not cancel those runs. And some of the drivers that are driving regular runs need to pick up those runs, hence some of the added layers of challenge in getting buses covered. We did have, and we talked about this in the fall, like we had 2 Berwick runs that were down for 2 weeks. And that's when we started talking about, having families call in if they were having a hardship getting there. Leanne's worked with families. We've had principals taking vans and driving, other administrators doing the same thing. So when we know, we're working really hard to have that happen, that we have students coming to school. I know in one of your emails, you asked if we could track that for you, we certainly can. It was a bigger discussion for the board. I think that email went out as a bigger discussion to talk about how you want that recorded moving ahead. But just, Leanne, you, when you do the cancellation, you do put on the number for the transportation office so
Yes.
that families can call. Yeah. And what time is the office staffed?
Our office is staffed at 5:30 in the morning until about 5:30 at night.
And if that's a problem, they can also contact the school. If they don't get an answer for some reason because of volume or whatever, they can directly call the student's school. Yeah.
Do we survey our drivers, just asking them for them to articulate their greatest challenges in their role as drivers? And if we do that, could you maybe let us know what those highlight things are and what we're doing to address their greatest challenges?
We haven't done a typical survey for that. My door is always open. If there's any challenges, they're welcome to come in and talk to me about certain things. I will say that everybody has done a great job about stepping up and helping out whenever it is that we do have buses down and willing to pick up other parts of their route, although it may extend their route and so forth. Everybody's been very, very helpful in saying, yeah, I can do that. I can pick that one up. I can go around and do that. They're working really great as a team. I haven't done any specific survey, but I can certainly send something out if that's something that you're looking for.
I think it's obvious that there are some things that we really, like any district, that we just have serious challenges in trying to find drivers, right? So what I'm suggesting is, can we gather information about just the way that we operate, the way that our buses run, all those different things to create the best possible environment for drivers, so that, we may not be able to compete with significant pay or anything like that, but we can compete with how they feel. And I commend our drivers and how they're helping out. And Leanne, I commend you for the work that you have done. It's been challenging, no doubt. So I'm just I'm trying to look at anything, right? Anything that we can look at. If we can create the best environment here by constantly asking our drivers, what's your headache, and eliminate those headaches to the best we can do, I think that'd be a great thing to do.
Okay.
I think Peg was next.
I had asked about vans. I don't think this problem is going to go away. I think everybody is struggling to find drivers. But vans, we don't require as much.
Correct.
So I think
When we go through the budget proposal, you will see that we do have vans in there. Leanne, do you want to talk about what we need to do to have a driver of a van, and what vans we're looking at purchasing or at least putting in the budget for the discussion?
Yeah. To be able to drive a van and not have any kind of licensing credentials other than an operator license, you still have to have the drug testing done because you're transporting the students. But to under 15 passenger, there is no special licensing that you need for that. So what we're looking at is like a 12 passenger vans that will be able to replace some of the older vans that we have that may not be inspectable come the future. And that's what we're looking to add into possibly the budget for transportation.
And that would be 3 currently that we're thinking of, correct?
Correct.
Are we also looking at any regular size? I guess my thought is maybe going forward, we're going to have to look at this very differently, sort of creatively. Like, how many vans would we need to replace the number of bus runs that are failing here routinely? Like, what could we do in Lebanon to make sure that we always have runs for those students? Because then anybody can pick up a bus run. Right. You could have other substitutes, so to speak.
Nancy.
I have candy.
Sorry.
We have any idea what's going on at Hanson for these kids? Sorry, Hanson. What are the numbers at Hanson?
I guess I need a little more information. What specifically is the question about what's happening?
Yeah, is it, we have a child that was out, it looks like one reported absent for 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
That seems kind of.
It is high. there's no question that that's a high number. And
But is it because the bus wasn't available or was it?
correct. It was because the bus wasn't available and they reported that they were not attending school because of the bus. Yes,
And that bus wasn't available for 9 days?
correct.
But they all have options
They have
for their
options.
transportation. Okay, so those, right.
And what were the other options?
Well, the other options, they can call the school or the transportation department and say they do not have they can't get to school. So we will send somebody out from the school or transportation will, and that's what Leanne was saying, like everybody's really great at stepping in and taking the students. And 8 of those students, if you look at that list again, 8 of those students that had missed quite a few have permanent solutions so that when there's a cancellation, they have an immediate solution for those 8 students.
Does the principal or somebody at the school reach out to these parents? Get that sorted out? That seems like a double problem.
The school office and the principal have talked and actually have helped facilitate those permanent solutions.
Thank you.
We have any information about the one student who seems to not have a plan? Do we know why that is? Is there a solution for that?
We can check, but I know that the school administration reached out to everybody to come up with a plan, so we can certainly check that out.
I just hope it's not the one student who missed 9 days in a row, right?
Yes.
Well, with this, going back to how to report the equity issue, even though they're still getting to school, this is only marking absences. It sounds like with the reworking of the schedule, they may still be missing instructional time based on the reruns and things like that. I don't see how they could all get to school at the same time. So I think what I would like to see is how many kids are showing, tardiness that are part of the free and reduced lunch program, because that would be a priority. And then it sounds like we're doing everything right other than that. I mean, in all my research about how to attract bus drivers, what they're talking about is being competitive with CDL, which we are hourly. And it sounds like they are getting 8.5 hours a day. So is that something that we're committed?
7.5. 7.5. Most of them, not all of them, 7.5.
Most of them, not all of them. And is that because the other ones don't want that or because we don't have anything else for them to do?
Leanne, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, so all the times that drivers have is based upon their length of their route. They each have built in an hour and a half for pre-trip fueling and post-inspection, pre-inspection, and then their route time on top of that. So some people's routes are shorter than others. So that's what makes up their total time of the day.
Okay, so I know that consistency of hours is a huge drawing factor for people looking for jobs. So I think maybe guaranteeing 8.5 hour work days. We have other things that they could do. There's all sorts of creative things that people are applying their bus drivers for within their school district that ensures that they're getting 8.5 or 8 hours a day, which gives them a full-time schedule. So I would like to look into that as well.
We can certainly provide information about how many drivers are working less than that. And also some drivers, to your point, like the flexibility of not working that amount of time. So yeah, we can certainly look deeper into that. So you are asking for parties. So if a bus, I just want to make sure we have this, just so when we start looking at it, if there's a student tardy, you want a correlation or not a correlation between if that bus run was canceled. And if so, what is the student receiving free and reduced meals?
And I'm assuming there's a makeup plan for instruction loss.
There is yes.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Is it just going to think outside the box? We have a number of parents that do provide transportation for their own child, correct?
We do.
Have we consider reaching out to those parents to see if they would pick up other kids that are affected by this, or is that part of that permanent plan for those kids in Lebanon? I'm just thinking overall, like as a backup. Like, can we not mobilize our community for parents who are willing and kind of set the agreements and all that to work through that we can help our communities communicate and work together for the benefit of all students attending school?
That's happening informally. We're not orchestrating that per se, but it does happen informally.
Is that an option for our district to consider formalizing it?
We can look into that. There's privacy issues with releasing phone numbers and
Understand.
information like that, but yeah.
I'm sure there's gotta be a way. All right, thank you.
I will, sorry, I will say I love that idea. I drive other kids to school and I always think like, oh, I could just like maybe quickly on Sundays go back out and pick up other kids or things. But then it also is terrifying for liability. And especially if the district is helping organize that. That's liability.
Look into it.
No, I
Probably change the type of insurance you'd have to have if you were doing it more formally.
Is that something that PTO, Lauren, you're more familiar with PTO than I am. Is that something that PTO could encourage at their meetings to see if we can't get parents to,
I think if PTO attendance were higher, then that's a great idea. But when you've only got a few people in the audience, it's not a fair
it was
representation of.
something that would relieve the responsibility of the school district for insurance and whatnot? Is if are they separate enough so PTO could?
They still haven't, I mean, they'd still be liable.
No, here, what?
They would still be liable. Like if I'm not a lawyer, I would assume any group organizing this, if it was a form of group involved any kind of insurance, or tax ID, then they could be held liable.
No. I just said.
Right then. Thank you very much, Leanne. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
I am. I'll get up and
Start your day
in the morning.
You start your day at 5:40. We really appreciate you being here this late. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Too. The next item on our agenda is the SRRF award.
Okay, so we did receive notification that we were selected for the SRRF and that we had submitted for the intermediate school for the HVAC system. So we have the letter, but what I've handed out to you is just so you can see the awarded fund, how much that was, and then how much of the loan would be forgiven, and then how much needs to be repaid. So I'll have you take a moment to look at that.
Is this reflected in the facilities update?
I don't believe it is, no. I was just trying to picture that, no. Again, that's why it says draft.
I know, that's why I'm like, this is exciting.
So as you look at this, you see that the portion that needs to be paid is 42% of the full award. So that would be $509,240, and that's over 10 years.
Is there an interest rate associated with that?
Interest free.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
This was
Yeah.
given.
Queuing us appropriate.
This is the last school that needs this work. Did I remember that correctly? Like, we already did a lot of work of all the other schools. And this is the last.
This is the finalization for this school, yes. Not sure if there is no other
I think there's
HVAC
some-
work to do in the district.
I think the middle high school, there's.
I think I asked Kevin last time, if this is something he cannot do.
Correct. Correct.
This is good news.
It is great news. So all we need tonight, if you're prepared, is there's a lot of work that we would have to do as far as documents and timing. So all we would need to do right now is to have you be able to say, move ahead to start that process. That doesn't mean that at any point, as we're going through that, you can make the decision not to, but we do have a certain time period where we do need to contact to get some financial documents in order. So we need some direction tonight to either be able to do that or not. And again, we can stop at any moment. It's just okay, go ahead and make that call and have that conversation.
I'd make that motion that we start to move forward.
We have a motion to start to move forward. Do we have a second?
I have a question.
Oh, we got a
It's gotta be seconded before this discussion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So what is earmarked exactly for this or nearly two? What, 2 million?
Planned. Well, we had a big presentation on that. I'm gonna look to see if we can pull that up. Yeah.
While you're pulling that up, Audra, this renovation, is this one of the bright red flashing critical needs for the intermediate school?
That again.
Is this is what this is going to cover? Is it covering the bright red flashing critical need for that building? Is it in that category?
That category,
It is in that category. Okay. The other thing is, I'd just like to reiterate, and I'd be curious where the other board members feel about this. It would be my preference to see us as a school board move to a geographically centered intermediate school. That we would transition to that for a myriad of reasons that we wouldn't go through, but essentially, each community school is a K-3, and then we have a 4-6 building geographically centered in the district, and then you have a 7 through 12 at the high school. If I am the only one that feels that would be in the best long-term plans of the district, then I will stop talking about it. So I'm asking my fellow board members, like, where are you on that? Or is the upkeep and renovation of the Noble Intermediate School in Knowlton situation with Lebanon fourth graders traveling over an hour to school, is that in your long-term plans?
I can only speak for myself, but I'm more interested in getting fourth graders back to Lebanon and maintaining the intermediate school the way it has been. I think people are pretty used to where the location is, and geographically, I know center is into Lebanon, which then we run into the issue of first responders response time, which can be quite long in Lebanon, which is my primary concern. So I would rather focus on the addition to Hanson to get the fourth graders back. And then this is about 50,000 a year for the next 10 years for a critical item. So I would like to move forward with this. My answer, I guess, is no.
I guess I sort of second that for different reasons, but I have no idea what the cost comparison is that we're talking about here. And given the budgetary constraints that we have now, I can't see how, and then I know, Josh, you've explained to us how it would save us money, but I don't see it happening. In the near term, it would be a huge expense that I don't think the district taxpayers can afford right now, since there's no money from the state for us to build a school currently.
I didn't say that would save us money, but thank you.
Is he?
There's been a lot of talk about the aging of the buildings, and Lebanon is 72 years old. Mary Hurd is 77 years old. The intermediate school is 68 years old. And I'm concerned, if we're going to start shutting down the buildings because they're getting old, then maybe we should be thinking about not putting a lot of money into the aging buildings, but thinking about what we do need to do. We still have a fairly young building in Knowlton, I think. And maybe we need to look at, I guess what I'm trying to say is, we have been told that these aging buildings are obsolete now. And I'm wondering if we need to just kind of really focus in on what we want to do going forward. You can put an intermediate school 4 through 6 from the edge of Berwick and North Berwick and still have it closer to Lebanon than it is out on Route 9, which will allow your responders to get there in a timely fashion. But I think that we need to be talking about it or discussing it or thinking about it. It might not work, but I think we need to give it some thought before we start sinking more and more money into these buildings that may be obsolete in 5 years. Before we get this thing paid off, it could be obsolete. That's all. That's what I'm saying. And we also have a number of, am I not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, but there's a lot of loans out currently on some of these projects. I don't want to rush. We have time, you said, Audra, to think about this and work on it. And I think that's what I'd like to see is a little bit more time thought on thinking outside the box as to what we might want to do going forward and not worry too much. I don't know. It's just a thought.
This is what the focus would be, to replace outdated and or non-existent ventilation systems, replace the aged building automation and control systems under the auspices of the grant. Kevin has told, this is from Dawn Bresnahan, who came in and said that Kevin has told me this was capital replacement goal of his with the building. So.
No, and I understand that. I just saying it's 68 years old. And how much do we want to keep sinking? We stopped sinking money into the 73-year-old building. Fine, Lebanon. I think it's 73, might be 72.
Sure, and I was just asking Jerry's question about what did this entail. So I guess, again, to recap, this, whatever you would vote tonight or not, would just be to allow us to move ahead to start some paperwork because there's a timing for that. That's all.
I do have a question. In the 5-year plan there is no light up here and my eyes, I'm having such a hard time reading. I'm sorry, but for the second year of the 5-year plan, thank you. It says for NIS, it says CO-HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in the second year, there's a plan to fix the HVAC and the cost is at most 41.2. So I need to understand the difference in cost because it sounds like it's the same project to me with limited understanding of this stuff. And I just need to understand why it's like more than double. If someone could answer that. So until I can get that understanding, I will not be comfortable voting on this tonight.
So, all right.
I kind of want a second, like along the lines of that. I feel like we would need to see by the next meeting, like the 5-year plan minus the cost of NIS, if we were going to be considering rebuilding something else so that we can weigh both of our options. So if we're not going to do updates that aren't deemed absolutely critical for the kids to be there for the next 5 years, like where does that leave us? I do think it's a bigger conversation, but I don't want you to miss a deadline on this. So when is the deadline for this?
Can I say something first? Because if that's what we're doing, if we are as a board considering an option of building a new school at this point, I don't know where that fits into our timeline here. We are in mid-February and haven't started talking about the budget. So are we going to put a pause on this and talk about building a new school?
I just want to know the difference between these two HVAC.
No, I totally understand your question, Melissa. I'm just, it seems like there's a great deal of interest. I think we'd have to buy land. We'd have to.
So my sense is this is not mutually exclusive. The reality is that we probably need to be looking at NIS and what needs to happen and to continue to keep the building in good shape moving forward. And then if you as a board choose to be looking at a centralized, intermediate school, I wouldn't want you to not move forward with the possibility of keeping this building in good shape with letting this other, because the process of building a brand new school is not a 2-year process. It's really not. I think about what it took. Of course, we wouldn't be building something like this, but it would still take years to do all of the processes that you need to do for building. So I think you need to be thinking about this in a very much alongside versus they're not mutually exclusive, in my opinion.
They obviously can't go 5 more years without proper HVAC. So,
well, yeah.
I think Rochester was 10 years, 88 million.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that we let them get the financial documents started, but we get the answer for you. We still have the opportunity to put pause on it. My guess is 2 different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to understand.
Right.
Here comes Denise.
Here comes Denise.
Well, Denise is coming out. Could I just say that, Sue, I think you're right. We need to be looking at both options. We can't, because if we put off the idea of another school, building a school, we're going to end up with 100-year-old buildings. And we wonder where we're going to send our kids to school because we haven't started talking about it. And we do need to get a centrally located building. I don't care who's in it.
So
I believe that is a smaller $40,000 repair project for this central office area in the new station being had. But that's $0.2 million for the building overall isn't very large, so big project.
But it says 41,200.
That is the cost of fixing the HVAC in the current central office.
Okay, so just a portion.
Just that.
And this would cover the entire school. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we have to tell the bond bank we have 30 days. So by the end of February,
We have to vote on it in 30 days?
we have to tell the main bond bank that we are yes going forward, or no, we are not.
So the paperwork has to be completed.
So by the next meeting on the 26th, we have to have a decision. So whatever information you need to be able to vote yea or nay on this very good deal. That's the cost of a required project. I encourage you to consider.
So where do we stand now? Does the motion and the second still stand?
Motion was to accept or to move forward with it. So we ready for vote?
All right, but there's no more discussion?
There's not, but in the future, could we have more time with this information? Because this is just a lot to take in on short notice.
I was
So
trying to
just
figure out, like,
going
when
forward.
that meeting was pretty early. It was like September meeting about this.
Oh, see, I'm forgetting and that's my bad. I'm
I
sorry.
was trying to find the flyers. I think I just recently just,
Okay.
but he came in and discussed like what he's going to fix and it's the control of the
Okay, I do
air,
not
but it
remember
wasn't air
that, but thank
conditioner
you.
versus heat, like, but I was just trying to see, because I'm sure that was sent by only have like January.
That's fine.
But yeah.
Her response made me feel a lot better, so I got the answer I was looking for,
I
so.
think if you look like, I think it was pretty early, like September.
To be submitted in October, and you had to vote to send it forward.
Okay.
Actually, we got this turned around. They just notified us January 31st. So this is our first meeting since.
Okay.
And so it is very quick, but it is a state thing. They tell us and they give us 30 days.
Thank you.
So.
So we have a motion to move forward. It's been seconded. All those in favor of passing the motion? And the motion passes. Next, agenda item, technology continued discussion for opt-out K-3.
All right. This is my little baby. So I just want to continue the discussion we had. We had a really awesome presentation about the value of the technology in our K-3 schools and the importance of having one-to-one computers. So I appreciate that presentation and I wholeheartedly believe that one-to-one computers are an asset for our kids. I do want to move forward with just some guidelines and a parental choice option with this that I think will just make for a better learning experience for certain children. So the first thing is I would like to put into policy that no child would spend more than 30 minutes per day on any one-to-one computer. And obviously I don't want to micromanage you guys. However, you think that's most easily carried out. I don't want to add to teachers' burden of having to keep track of it, but I'm sure there's some way that there could be an auto turn off or something like that. I mean, we can do it on our phones. Maybe there's some way to do it on a Chromebook, where after a half an hour, the program stops. It's pretty in line with neuroscience and the effects of just screens in general on attention and all sorts of things that aren't new to anybody here. The second piece I want to talk about is the parent opt-out, which would be for certain items. So for example, if your child finishes an assignment early, they may be presented with the option of reading a book on their Chromebook or on their tablet. I want to have some type of a parent opt-out that says, I would rather have my child handed a physical book or manipulative in that circumstance. So that means that, for example, like for myself, I don't want my children to see technology as a reward more than I want them to see a physical book as a reward. I think that it's important that they still find physical books exciting. And I know that that's something that our staff, they also want kids to find physical books exciting still too. There's all sorts of research about how hard it is for teachers these days to maintain engagement with kids just due to the constant stimulation they have on screens. So it's really important, and I would love for us to find some way to make a community initiative to limit screen time to 2 hours while your kids are at home as well. Obviously, we can't control what happens outside of the school, but I think that it really makes teachers' jobs significantly easier if you have kids who aren't really glued to a device after school hours. Anyway, so back to what I actually want to present. It's a 30-minute limit on daily screen time per child, and then a parent opt-out for using tablets as rewards.
We have Bridget in the audience.
I just first of all want to say thank you because I feel heard. I feel like we've had good communication about our technology and we see the value in it. And I just also want you to feel heard too, that we as an administrator team, and I think it is general educators in the district, share the concerns about students and screen time and attention spans. And so we've drafted some guidelines as well. And I feel like guidelines are a better tool for this conversation than a policy. Policies are, as you know, very rigid, very hard to change. And the technology world is extremely fluid. So I think it would be challenging to keep up with a policy around those specific limitations. And I wanted to clarify that when you're talking about 30 minutes, that's for our K-3 population, correct?
Correct, and that obviously would be excluding testing.
Yes. And the trouble with automated shutoffs is that they don't differentiate between apps and it's testing. So again, I think it's a reasonable expectation that our students, and especially at that grade level, are expected to use technology, generally speaking, no longer than 30 minutes, considering testing and other non-negotiable uses. And I don't think that I think we all can advocate for not using technology for free time. I think that it leads to a lot of problems in the classroom, and it is not the best use of our technology. So that's something we as an administrative team feel we can support, or something we feel we can work with the teachers on to provide alternative activities. And so I think collaboratively that we can adopt some guidelines. And so I'm happy to share those with you so you can take a look. I know it's best to have some time to read them.
Yes, this is what I was hoping for, because I have no interest in micromanaging how you carry this out. I just want the end result to be that parents feel like they have some, reassurance that their kids are using it exclusively for,
Yeah, and I think it's also important to acknowledge the expertise of our teachers. Not to have them feel, like you say, micromanaged, that we don't want them to feel like our us either. So we want to provide guidance and support hand in hand so that we are best serving our children using technology. Directly to Ally, she during this conversation, but really, I think all of us are in this conversation together. I think we understand community members.
Parent opt-out option she was talking about, that should be super easy to implement, right? If we chose to do that.
I think we adopt guidelines like this, it would not really be necessary. If you're choosing as a school not to use technology or an incentive or for free time, then there's nothing really for parents to opt out of, which is what you're recommending, if I understand correctly. I think over across my time as an educator, I've always been receptive to parents' wishes in my classroom. It's not always. I have never been in this particular situation. I didn't teach second grade when we had one-to-one devices, so I didn't have another parent ask me. But I have worked with teachers that are extremely accommodating to parent wishes in their classrooms. That is over a wide spectrum of needs and not just technology. So I think that, again, with respect to our teachers, that is something that they're handling professionally now. And if there are parental concerns around that, I don't know that we need a formal process at this time. I think we provide guidance, we provide options for teachers, and we have empower them and their parents to have open communication about what the practices in the classroom.
So Ally, what were you thinking our next steps would be?
I think we should, this obviously wouldn't be something for this year. It would be starting, I would assume next year, because we're already in the thick of it. Yes, this year. So I think we can digest this a little more, keep talking a little more. and follow up with this in a future meeting.
If you feel, after reading this, that you would like more to say about it, I know it's proposed in our last, maybe in a small group meeting, something that I haven't done in this, in the time frame available is, a specific guideline for teachers, and I think as we remind them, there are other audience who want to be in the conversation. So before we finalize to adopt it, I think we work through these together and that maybe a small group forum and then roll it out with our teachers together.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Thank you, Bridget. Just to clarify, these are the current guidelines or this is proposed?
Correct. I accepted all the York County and actually Southern Maine exec directors, nobody has guidelines like this yet. We all have best practices that are, understood or not understood, implied. I think it's useful to have it spelled out and to have it reinforced and just be a supportive experience for students and teachers.
No, I love this. This is great. So draft. Does this also have teacher input as going into it as well to?
That's conversations with those teachers I have with teachers. There have been no direct conversations. So I'm not making the teachers.
Yeah, no, I would just love that piece of it too. Like, I don't know what's actually happening in a classroom. I know my oldest now was the first kindergarten class coming in after COVID, and there was a lot of screen time, but he also read after like 2 months of kindergarten. So I'm like, well, thank you, Lexia, because that was a fabulous program. Like, I don't know. So I don't know, like, and I'm really curious about their input because I agree they shouldn't be on a lot, but at the same time, like if they're making massive leaps and gains that are helping our district progress and have better test scores and smarter kids, I want to make sure we're looking at the full picture.
And I haven't been in every classroom at the end of the day, so it's really difficult for me to speak to how many people are using them at the end of the day. Extension of practice for entertainment. I have been in classrooms where that is not the case. I walked by classrooms where kids are on their devices and I can't assume what they were doing without observing it, nor did I know what else they had done on their computers during the day. So it's part of a longer term conversation and then hopefully collaborative so no one feels that it is thrust on them.
Another thing I want to talk about with the teachers is because this would put a strain on physical, like budgetary strain on physical manipulatives and books. So I want to make sure that they have access to enough books and that they aren't using digital books because they don't have access to enough physical books. And if that is the case, we would budget accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, our elementary school teachers are all, they're just amazing humans and really good educators. And there are so many hands-on opportunities already in those classrooms. I think it's just examining our practices around technology and making sure we have the tools and maybe our upper elementary and middle grade to try to know what's available for supports there.
Thank you. Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you.
Bridget.
And thank you, Ellie, for bringing this to our attention. So we are going to move on to policy second readings.
Before we do the second reading for ACAA-R, if we could put JLCD, which is administering medications to students, if we could put that on hold. At our last policy committee meeting, we did not have an opportunity to talk about this one. And Amy Crichton had another suggestion she wanted us to hear. So we'd like to do that at the policy committee first. There were a couple of links she wanted to talk through. So that would be JLCD, if that is okay.
All right, a motion or?
I don't.
Motion tabled, policy JLCD.
Second.
The motion, it's been seconded. All those in favor, tabling JLCD till next meeting? Opposed?
Okay, the one that we're going to be looking at for the second reading is ACAA-R, student discrimination, harassment, Title IX, sexual harassment, complaint procedures. When the committee's looked at this a few times, one of the things that the committee wanted to explore is the appeal process. Currently, our policy states that the appeals go to the superintendent. The superintendent's decision is final. We talked about the opportunity of potentially having the board be the final, if there was some disagreement with that, that it would be appealed to the board. We did have an opportunity to talk about if that becomes the case, what that involves for the board. And there is yearly training for that to happen for all board members, for new board members. There are some conflicts that could occur as far as disciplinary procedures and the role that the school board would take with disciplinary procedures. So the committee felt like we wanted to keep current language being like the decision is final, but add a part that just says, however, individuals are hereby notified, they also have the right to report incidents of discrimination and harassment to the Maine Human Rights Commission and or the Federal Office for Civil Rights. So we added that, that's section D4. We added that to the bottom of that, and that's the language that would allow families to know that it doesn't have to stop at the school or the district level, that they can go on and make further concerns or express further concerns or complaints.
Did you say D4?
Yes.
I think there's the link on the agenda is bringing us to the wrong.
Because it stops at D3.
Mine stops at D3 too.
I have D4.
I'm looking at it.
Are you clicking on the link on the agenda that
Did not.
hyperlink? You are?
Yes.
I have D4.
I have D4.
Is this the second? There's
Are you on page 5?
If you go back to the agenda, there's 2 agendas. Like there's one on top of the other, scroll down.
This is the one with the link.
It's page 5.
That's so weird because I have it.
Yep, thank you.
Clicked on it earlier.
Maybe.
You're right. That's what I'm doing. You want me to send it to you?
Page 6.
Yeah, this one has 4. So it must have been updated. So,
Okay. I'm good now. I can read it.
mhm.
I feel a lot more comfortable having the superintendent and then the Maine Human Rights Commission deal with a situation like this. I think you're opening up a very, very bad can of worms, having 9 people that are from various. Yeah, we don't have the training for that.
Nice, a couple questions / I don't know if an edit was missed. On pages 10 and 12, there are 2 sections on each page that say within 5 calendar, and then they still have or business in brackets. I think consistently throughout the rest of the policy, we took out calendar and replaced it with business days. So I just want to.
Yes, it's in red.
Should calendar be crossed out, calendar or, and then just 5 business days on all of those situations? I don't know if it needs to technically go back or if we can just.
No, we should be
amend it. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Motion to approve
Second. We have a motion to approve
with changes, with edits.
with edits. Motion to approve with edits,
Seconded.
and it has been seconded. All those in favor of passing ACAA-R, Student Discrimination, Harassment, and Title IX Sexual Harassment Policy? All those in favor? All those opposed? So that was 5-4?
Yes.
Yeah. And the motion is passed.
All right, so our next section is employment. We do have some employment news to share. We are nominating Ryan Peters as the Assistant Athletic Director from now until the remainder of the school year. And that is to replace Alex, who was hired as the Athletic Director in Massabesic. So Ryan has been a previous coach in our district, And he has he's getting his Master of Education in Athletic Leadership from Springfield College. He's in the final stages of that. So we just need a motion to, and a second for that.
Make a motion to approve Ryan Peters.
A second.
You have a motion and a second to approve the position. All those in favor? And motion passes.
The next one is Riley Champagne for Noble Intermediate School for Social Studies. I think as you recall, right before break, we had a teacher that resigned due to this getting a job closer to home. And this position would replace that. So it's Riley Champagne for Social Studies and the University of Massachusetts with a master's in Education and History.
So,
and this is, again, sorry, this is for the remainder of the year. We'll reopen it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so moved.
Do you have a motion to approve? The second? Second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve Riley Champagne as social studies teacher for the remainder of the year. All those in favor? And the motion passes.
We have a couple of retirements, and this is always so impressive when you hear the years in district. We have Rosanna Pass for Noble High School, Spanish teacher, 28 years with MS 8060. She's currently on a leave of absence that you approved last year.
So moved with tremendous regret.
Some second.
It's amazing.
We have a
First and second. First and a second, yeah.
We have a motion and a second to approve the retirement of Rosanna Pass with regrets. All those in favor? And the motion is passed.
The next one is Jill Hoffmeister, currently at Noble Middle School. Our success teacher. She's been in our district in various roles for 25 years.
That's another one. I'll make the motion with extreme regrets. These people aren't supposed to ever leave.
Motion is, do we have a second? Second. And I'm going to need that name again. I'm sorry.
Jill Hoffmeister.
Jill Hoffmeister, thank you. We have a motion and a second to accept the retirement of Jill Hoffmeister. And all those in favor? Motion is passed.
Okay. The third one is Tim Lounsbury, who's the school counselor at Noble High School, and he has been in our district for 34 years.
That's so sad. I'll motion to regretfully accept that.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to regretfully accept the resignation of Tim Lounsbury. He's been with the district for 34 years. All those in favor? All those opposed?
The collective district knowledge.
I know, 90 years.
Yes, crazy. That's so sad.
That is what we have for employment updates. You can go on to the superintendent's update. A few things to note. Noble's Got Talent. We'll have their auditions coming up on March 3rd, I believe it is. So that's it's our K-12 kind of talent show, so to speak. So there's different audition times based on what grade level you're on. So that comes up. That's always a fun night.
I guess that means we
happens.
can audition.
Well, you can. Just
But I have
put
to
you
go
in one of the
back to 12 grades.
Right. We had our third annual Community Employer Appreciation Luncheon at Noble Middle and High School recently. We're going to ask those that organize that to come in and just speak to that because it's really well attended. It's a very nice day. We had some nice, what it celebrates is the partnerships that we have as far as our extended learning opportunities and our access program, but we'll have our two kind of chairs come in and speak about that. There were over 24 local industries and businesses that participated in that. So it's good. It's really great. Yeah. And Noble Middle and High School recently hosted the Maine Music Education Association District 1 Music Festival. We had 32 students from our district participate in that. So that was a tremendously strong number. Let's move on to a couple of athletic events. So indoor track qualified 10 athletes for the state championships. And they're scheduled to be held on Monday, February 16th at USM. Wrestling won the 2026 Class A Duals State Championship. That's the third time in a row that they've won. And they won the 2026 Class A South Regional Championship for the third year in a row. 13 of our wrestlers qualified for the co-ed state championship and will look to secure the 17th state championship in the program history, their third in 4 years. The state championships are being held this Saturday. And the girls wrestling won several tournaments through their regular season and are looking for another state championship trophy to add to their collection next Tuesday. Our cheer competition placed 6th at the regional championships and qualified for the state championship. Our esports are in full swing. We always really do well with the esports, so we're looking forward to seeing how that goes. So those are the superintendent's updates. Thank you.
And now we are at the other section.
All right. So I had an other. We were reached out to by a teacher who had expressed that finding time to coordinate volunteers in their classroom was really difficult. It's almost like a whole nother part-time job. Just trying to get people, like making sure they're approved, green lighted to come into the schools, and then coordinating time with them. I wanted to present an idea of creating at each school a volunteer coordinator position that's available to teachers as a stipend position. This would alleviate most teachers from having to coordinate their own volunteers. It would streamline the process so parents are able to get back into the schools easier. I think it would be a huge thing just to have parents feeling like they're really able to get back into the schools. They know exactly who to contact from each school to do that, and that person would have access to all of the opportunities very easily. So that's my idea.
Would you like us to move that into an agenda item to be acted upon?
Yes, please.
Or maybe talk about it during the budget.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about it during the budget. Yeah, as a budget item. Mhm. Yeah. And then my second other item, I'm really proud of the vision and goals that we set. And I am wondering if our superintendent update from now on could use the framework of those goals when delivering it. Problem. Thank you.
Any other? Yes.
Thank you. And notice we have police presence again tonight. Is this a cost to the district when we have law enforcement here for school board meetings?
Anytime we have law enforcement in the building, there is a cost, yes.
So how much longer do we anticipate having law enforcement at our school board meetings? Like what criteria are you looking at and how long are you looking to continue this?
I think we wanted to see how tonight went. We can certainly revisit that.
And I asked before, just like, for the criteria that we're looking for to assess the danger to public, to board members. And the original evidence was suspect, in my opinion, and others can feel differently. I understand that. So to see it for the third time just seems really excessive. Public has been, outspoken at different times, but they've been very, I think, good to one another. And I thank you guys for being polite to one another and to board members. I think there's a lot of just like amped up fears that actually doesn't pan out publicly. And so I just would like to respect our community, respect our process, and law enforcement at school board meetings. Thank you.
Any other discussion around that? Nancy?
Nope, not around that.
Sorry?
Another other.
Okay.
Ally made me think of it. Can we get a copy of the stipends for budget season? I
We
don't,
typically do that in budget season.
we never got the stipends for the contracts. When we did the contract for teachers, we never finished, we never got, the stipends were never passed out. It wasn't done. Can we get back? Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand what stipends you're talking about,
When we did the contracts,
right?
list of stipends in the contract. It
Okay,
hadn't been revised at the time we approved it.
so you're not talking about stipends for athletic activities or,
So I think that's all in part of the stipend.
It's always separated it up.
We just never got that. It was never updated. It's based on, guys, help me out here. It's based on the salaries. And some of them are just, and we never got the updated copy. We should have that before budget season comes out. I mean, before budget season, we should have that copy. So you made me think of it, Ally. Blame her.
No, I was just gonna, I know, Ms. Larson touched on it, but North Berwick just celebrated their 100th day, which for those of you who don't know, the 100th day at school, each classroom collects 100 items, from bars of soap to soup to canned vegetables, beans, like all sorts of food for the food pantries in town, and the backpack programs and everything. And I think we had at least 5 outside organizations, including the French Mentors, the firefighters, the auxiliary, there were a few others participate, and it's such a wonderful thing. And apparently they always used to sing a song at the end, which got brought back this year. Ms. Hagan did an amazing job with that. And so it was just amazing to see an entire gym full of all of the students in the building together singing with sign language and everything. And it's just a wonderful experience.
anybody else? Right,
Sorry.
so we're going to.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just lagging a little bit. I really wanted to thank Josh for the people that we had at the last meeting. I had a few minutes to talk to Lauren and no, it was Lauren. On the work that she's doing. And it's really heartbreaking. The work that she's doing with detransitioners. And it was unfortunate that this school board did not have the temerity to listen to what they had to say. So thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Going once, going twice. Anybody else? All right, we move on then to our second public input. Once again, we remind you that it'll be 21 minutes and you're asked to keep it to 3 minutes.
I'll figure out what surgeons rather than a forward. Donate to the reason what Josh just said in regards to the police officers being here. I think that, and this is a perfect example of what just happened. When you just thank Josh for what he did, not all of you, but most of the board had a nasty, disgusted look on their face. You wonder why parents get angry. This is why we get angry. Because I get looks like that and rolling eyes and shaking your head if you don't agree with what she's saying or what Josh is saying. That's why we have angry people. Not because of what's being said, but your reactions and how you treat people by the faces that you make and the looks that you do when you're sitting up there. Everybody's watching you. It's disrespectful and unacceptable. So thank you again, Josh.
I'll run it up, so I'm trying to take a minute. I am not a resident of the community, but I do represent the community in the main Senate. My name is Joe Rafferty, and I am the current chair of the Education and Cultural Affairs Committee. So what you're doing here, I do at the state level. And I know it's a difficult task, so I commend you for your work. It is never an easy thing. And things all come up, but just kind of sitting here listening to some of the, we're having the exact same discussions. Now, your evening mirrors my day. But in any case, schools are in tough shape. And as I hear tonight, many of yours are. So statewide, schools average about 50, school buildings are averaging 54 years of age. 236 of our 600 schools were built between 1950 and 1970. There was a massive funding gap. 500 of the mains, 600 schools will require major renovations or replacement by 2045. That sounds like a long way away, but I'll probably be pushing up daisies, but it's only 20 years. Estimates roughly right now, estimates are at $11 billion price tag. I heard recently that was more closer to $20 billion statewide. The rising costs are phenomenal. 1990, school construction was $100 a square foot. Right now it's $600 a square foot. There are 95 schools currently on the list. We can afford to take, we typically 1 or 2 schools get built. So, and then you just try to move on the list. And also the major tragedy, you'll end up at the end of it. There are some available to move up if needed. Consolidation is often talked about. The trouble with consolidation is that everyone wants the school next to them. And as you were mentioning, it creates transportation costs, transportation issues. So again, those are all difficult things. Now, I was here this past, the last meeting, the meeting before, and it was a difficult meeting, really was. But again, kind of mirrored some of the ones that I see in. But there are, for me, I'm an educator. I've been in education for 45 years. I'm retired now, I'm still, this is my 6th serving at the state level. But I think the most important people in this building, the children. Everyone in here wants the same thing. Time up.
Motion to extend his time.
What's it? I'm sorry.
Motion to extend his time.
Motion to extend his time. Do we have a second?
You got the, I can.
All those in favor?
You can finish.
I've got a few minutes. As I was saying, so, we all want the same thing for our children. I got 3 daughters went through public school. I have grandchildren going through public schools down in Rhode Island right now. But we all want our children to be safe. That's the most important thing. And I think that is most critical. We will also, every kid that walks in the building wants to feel safe. They also want to feel wanted. And respected. Just like we've heard that word come out tonight. In my classroom, as again, I was a long-time teacher and coach, I expected my kids, all of them, to be responsible, respectful, accountable, engaged, and kind. Not one of those costs anything. As far as your school, you're losing some teachers, they're retiring. Statewide, we lost 900 teachers to retirement last year. Also, there were 600 teachers who walked out the door, didn't retire, just didn't come back. So these are huge concerns for us statewide. We are working, believe it or not, my committee is working extremely hard on trying to fix, better understand school funding. You know that is, again, I've been in education over 40 years. I still don't understand. And I work with it all the time. It is confusing because if you take from one thing, there's got to be some give somewhere else. So it is tough, but we are trying to work and we're trying to find something. We had a big study done. Hasn't been a change to that formula since 2005. So we're trying to make a change to it. And some of you are familiar with the MEP folks. They are the Mains Education Policy Research Institute. So they've done a lot of work for our committee in terms of funding, and they're also doing the same thing as far as the buildings. So, thank you. That's about it. But again, you've got to work together. Period. Flat. I know some folks, I mean, the standard, these are all normal responses to difficult situations. But working together, you can get there. You're gonna battle, it's gonna happen. Or it's gonna, you don't get just like walk into a lot. It's just very, very difficult. But I know you can get it. I encourage you to keep working. Thank you folks for all the work you're doing. And anyone that's out here tonight, again, I could give them that encourage. I mean it to you. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, Steve.
If we don't have any other public input, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Now we have to.
Need to adjourn to executive session.
Session, yeah.
So do we have to make that motion specifically? I think we do, right? Make the motion that we adjourn to an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056E, legal rights and duties of the school board.
Second.
All those in favor? Moving to. Thank you, and the motion is passed.